Stop everything for a moment. Do not rush past this warning. Wednesday is not just another day. Something has been moving toward you quietly, and heaven allowed this message to reach you before tomorrow because your next reaction matters more than you know. This is not fear. This is discernment. This is not random anxiety. This is your spirit recognizing a test before your mind can explain it. You have felt something pressing against your peace, and you could not name it, but deep inside you knew something was different. Listen closely. The danger is not that God has left you. The danger is that you might step into Wednesday carrying the wrong voice, the wrong agreement, and the wrong reaction from an old version of yourself. That is why this warning found you now. You have been feeling it in your body. Your shoulders have been tight. Your chest has been heavy. Your sleep has been strange. And even when nothing obvious was happening around you, your spirit kept sensing pressure, as if something unseen was standing at the edge of your door. You woke up tired. You moved through the day slowly. You tried to act normal, but inside, you kept feeling like your peace was being tested by invisible hands, and every small delay felt heavier than it should have felt. That was not weakness. That was awareness. Your spirit has been awake. Your soul has been watching. Your inner man has been standing at attention, because heaven knows when a chosen one is about to enter a test that cannot be passed with the same mindset that failed before. Do not ignore the heaviness. Do not dismiss the tension. Do not call it overthinking too quickly. Sometimes what the world calls stress is actually a warning bell in the spirit, and sometimes what feels like pressure is God slowing your steps before a dangerous door opens. Wednesday is the test. But the test begins before Wednesday arrives. It begins in the way you respond tonight. It begins in the message you choose not to send. It begins in the temptation you refuse to feed. It begins in the silence you finally obey. You have been feeling pulled in two directions. One side wants peace. One side wants reaction. One side wants obedience. One side wants proof. And this is where the enemy becomes dangerous, because he does not always come with destruction first. He comes with a reason to leave alignment. He will make the wrong door look urgent. He will make the wrong voice sound familiar. He will make the wrong opportunity feel like relief. And if you are tired enough, lonely enough, or desperate enough, you might confuse a trap for an answer. That is why heaven is interrupting you. Not to scare you, but to steady you. Not to shame you, but to protect you. Because there is a version of you that has prayed too long to lose progress through one emotional decision before the appointed day. Chosen one, hear this. You are not in danger because you are abandoned. You are in danger because you are close. The enemy does not study empty vessels. He studies carriers of assignment, and he attacks the ones who are about to step into something that heaven already approved. You have been closer than you realize. That is why the warfare became strange. That is why old memories returned. That is why certain people suddenly crossed your mind. And that is why your emotions have been rising and falling without any natural explanation. The test is not only about Wednesday. The test is about whether your spirit can remain anchored before Wednesday. It is about whether you will still trust God when the final hours feel unclear, when the old door knocks again, and when your flesh wants a fast answer. You may have noticed the signs: a sudden silence from someone, a delay that made no sense, a dream that stayed with you after waking, a random heaviness while doing something ordinary, and beneath all of it, a quiet sense that God was asking you to pay attention. Pay attention now. Heaven does not send warnings to destroy hope. Heaven sends warnings to preserve destiny. When God warns a chosen one, it means the door is still protected, the path is still available, and obedience can still change what would have happened. You are not too late, but you are not allowed to be careless. You are not behind, but you are not allowed to move blindly. This is the narrow space before the test, where every distraction tries to become louder than the voice of God. The enemy wants you tired. Tired people react fast. Tired people misread silence. Tired people go back to places God already delivered them from, because their body wants comfort even when their spirit knows the cost. That is why rest became warfare for you. You tried to rest, but your mind kept moving. You tried to pray, but your thoughts scattered. You tried to sleep, but something kept pulling you awake. And the strangest part is that you could feel the seriousness of the hour, even if you could not explain it to anyone. Some of you have been waking before dawn, not once, not twice, again and again. You looked at the time and wondered why your body kept rising when you needed sleep. But your spirit was not waking you for panic, it was waking you for preparation. This is the part many people miss. A chosen one often feels the battle before the battle appears. You sense shifts before they reach the surface. You feel the atmosphere change before anyone speaks. You know when a room is wrong, even when everyone else smiles. That sensitivity is not a curse, it is part of your assignment. But if you do not know how to steward it, the enemy will try to turn your discernment into anxiety. He will make you question the very gift God gave you to survive the test. You have called yourself too sensitive. You have apologized for noticing too much. You have tried to silence your own inner knowing because other people made you feel dramatic. But heaven is saying your sensitivity is not the problem. Your unguarded reaction to what you sense is the test. This is why Wednesday matters. It will reveal whether you can sense without panicking. It will reveal whether you can feel pressure without obeying fear. It will reveal whether you can see a door open and still ask God if it is the right one. Not every open door is divine. Not every fast answer is God. Not every sudden return is restoration. Sometimes the enemy cannot stop the blessing, so he sends a counterfeit right before the true door appears, hoping you spend your agreement in the wrong place. That is the warning. Do not spend your agreement too early. Do not give your yes to what only touched your loneliness. Do not give your attention to what only provoked your old wounds, because the wrong agreement before Wednesday can delay the right assignment after Wednesday. You have outgrown certain doors. You have outgrown certain conversations. You have outgrown certain versions of yourself. But growth is tested when the old thing returns with a softer voice, a better excuse, and a timing that makes it look like an answer. This week has been strange for a reason. The small irritations were not random. The emotional waves were not meaningless. The pressure in your home, your chest, your dreams, and your thoughts has been exposing what still tries to control your obedience. God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be still enough to hear. He is not asking you to prove strength through noise. He is asking you to pass the moment where your flesh wants to move before your spirit receives instruction. Some of you already know what this is touching. There is a decision you have been circling. There is a message you almost answered. There is a person you almost returned to. There is an opportunity you almost grabbed because you feared nothing else would come. Pause there. That fear is part of the test. The enemy wants you to believe this is your last chance, because desperate people accept counterfeit doors. But God does not train a chosen one through fire just to let panic choose the final entrance. You are being tested in patience. You are being tested in silence. You are being tested in appetite. You are being tested in discernment. And the deepest test is whether you can trust that what God has kept away from you was not rejection, it was protection. Think about what has been happening lately. People who ignored you suddenly resurfaced. Thoughts you buried suddenly returned. Old shame started whispering again. And even your body felt like it was carrying a weight from a chapter you thought had already closed. That is not coincidence. Before a chosen one steps into a new level, old cycles often rise for one final review. Not because you failed, but because the spirit realm wants to see whether the old key still fits your hand. Do not pick it up. Do not reach back. Do not prove anything to anyone who only comes when your light is rising. The test is not whether they return. The test is whether their return still has the power to move you out of obedience. You have given too much access in past seasons. You let people enter your peace because you believed love required exhaustion. You let people borrow your light and then wondered why you felt empty. And now God is teaching you that compassion without discernment becomes a doorway for spiritual theft. That lesson has cost you tears. It has cost you sleep. It has cost you years of explaining yourself to people who were never assigned to understand you. But the test before Wednesday is not asking you to repeat the lesson. It is asking you to honor what the lesson already taught. You do not need to be cold. You need to be clear. You do not need to be cruel. You need to be obedient. There is a difference between a hardened heart and a guarded gate, and God is teaching you how to guard the gate without losing your love. The gate matters now. Your ears are a gate. Your eyes are a gate. Your emotions are a gate. Your attention is a gate. And before Wednesday, the enemy will try to enter through whatever gate you have not surrendered to God. He may enter through fear. He may enter through loneliness. He may enter through anger. He may enter through curiosity. And sometimes he enters through the innocent desire to finally be understood by someone who once made you feel invisible. Be careful. The test often wears the face of what you once wanted. It may not look evil at first. It may look familiar. It may look comforting. It may even look like the answer to a prayer you prayed in a weaker season. But your prayer life has matured. Your spirit has changed. Your standards have risen. And what looked like blessing when you were broken may look like bondage now that God has restored your sight. This is why you must not judge Wednesday through yesterday's eyes. You are not who you were when that door first appeared. You are not who you were when they first left. You are not who you were when you begged for acceptance. God has been remaking you in the hidden place, and the test is coming to measure the new you. That is why the enemy keeps reminding you of the old you. He wants you to forget the progress that happened in silence. He wants you to think nothing changed because the outside still looks similar, but heaven has been rebuilding your inner structure piece by piece. You are stronger than you feel. You are clearer than you think. You are more prepared than your fear admits. And the reason the pressure feels intense is because the old pattern is losing authority, but it is trying to make one final demand before it dies. Let it die. Let the old response die. Let the old begging die. Let the old panic die. Let the old hunger for validation die. Because Wednesday is not coming to destroy you, it is coming to reveal whether the training has finally become your nature. You have been trained in silence. You have been trained through waiting. You have been trained through closed doors. You have been trained through disappointment. And even when you thought nothing was happening, God was teaching your spirit to stand without applause. That training is why you are still here. You survived days that were designed to break your faith. You survived nights when your own thoughts sounded like enemies. You survived rejection that felt like a sentence, and somehow your spirit still kept reaching for God. Do not minimize that. Heaven does not. Every quiet choice counted. Every time you refused, revenge counted. Every time you prayed instead of reacting counted. And now, as Wednesday approaches, those unseen choices are being gathered like evidence in the court of heaven. The enemy has evidence too. He remembers what used to move you. He remembers what used to tempt you. He remembers the words that used to make you collapse. But he does not know the full measure of what God built inside you while no one was watching. That is why he is testing old triggers. He wants to see if the wound still rules. He wants to see if the silence still frightens you. He wants to see if delay still makes you compromise. And he wants to know if loneliness can still make you open a forbidden door. Do not answer him with panic. Answer with stillness. Do not answer him with explanation. Answer with obedience. Sometimes the loudest spiritual warfare is not shouting at darkness, but refusing to move when darkness demands a reaction from your unhealed place. You have confused stillness with doing nothing. But stillness is warfare when God commands it. Silence is not weakness when heaven assigns it. Waiting is not failure when the wrong door is trying to rush you before the right instruction becomes clear. Your next step needs clarity. Your next yes needs peace. Your next conversation needs God. You cannot afford to carry emotional noise into a sacred test, because a noisy mind can mistake pressure for prophecy and confuse urgency with divine timing. This is why your body has been asking for quiet. This is why certain music felt too heavy. This is why certain rooms felt draining. This is why conversations that used to entertain you now leave your spirit exhausted. God is separating your atmosphere before the test. Separation is not rejection. Separation is preparation. When God pulls you away, He is not hiding you because you failed. He is shielding you because the next gate requires a cleaner sound around your soul. That is why your circle feels smaller. You may feel lonely, but you are not abandoned. You may feel hidden, but you are not forgotten. You may feel delayed, but you are not denied. Heaven knows exactly where you are, and the angels of God have been guarding more than you could see. Some attacks never reached you. Some plans collapsed before you knew they existed. Some conversations about you became powerless because God confused the mouth of the accuser. You cried over what you saw, but you never saw everything heaven blocked. That is why gratitude must rise before Wednesday. Not fake gratitude, not forced praise. Real gratitude, the kind that says, God, I do not understand everything, but I recognize that if you warned me, you still intend to protect me. Say that in your spirit now. God, if you are warning me, you are protecting me. Let that truth settle. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath slow down. Fear loses power when the chosen one remembers that divine warning is a form of divine mercy. You are not hearing this to become paranoid. You are hearing this to become sober. There is a holy difference. Paranoia sees enemies everywhere. Discernment sees the assignment clearly. Paranoia panics. Discernment waits. Paranoia chases signs. Discernment listens for God. You need discernment now, not suspicion, not obsession, not emotional guessing. Discernment, the quiet knowing that comes when your flesh stops shouting and your spirit becomes steady enough to recognize what carries peace and what only carries pressure. Before Wednesday, watch what tries to steal your stillness. Watch the sudden anger. Watch the late-night urge. Watch the random comparison. Watch the memory that tries to seduce you into grief. These are not just moods, they are invitations to leave your post. You are a watchman. You cannot leave the gate because a feeling passed by. You cannot abandon your post because someone misunderstood you. You cannot surrender your assignment because your flesh wants one more conversation with what God already judged. The gate is not just outside you, the gate is inside you. It is the place where thoughts become agreements and agreements become movement. If the enemy can win there, he does not need to touch your destiny directly, because your own agreement will do the moving. This is why God is dealing with your thoughts first. The battle before Wednesday is not only in your calendar, it is in the private place where you decide what a delay means, what silence means, what rejection means, and what God is doing when you cannot see Him. If you decide delay means abandonment, you will run. If you decide silence means rejection, you will beg. If you decide pressure means danger, you will panic. But if you decide delay means protection, silence means training, and pressure means testing, you will stand. Stand now, not physically only. Stand inside. Stand where no one can see. Stand in the hidden court of your own heart, where old fear comes to testify against your future, and declare that fear no longer has permission to interpret God for you. Fear has interpreted too much. Fear told you that closed doors meant you were unloved. Fear told you that slow progress meant God forgot you. Fear told you that loneliness meant something was wrong with you. But fear is a false prophet. God did not forget you. God did not misplace you. God did not waste your waiting. He has been using every delay to remove the counterfeit version of the blessing, so that when the appointed door opens, you do not drag old bondage into new favor. Wednesday is connected to a door. That is why the thumbnail spoke of the test. That is why your spirit paused. That is why this message feels heavier than a normal message. Something is about to ask for your agreement, and your answer must come from alignment. Do not answer from exhaustion. Do not answer from loneliness. Do not answer from wounded pride. Do not answer from the fear of missing out. The wrong state can turn even a good opportunity into confusion, because obedience requires not just movement, but the right spirit behind the movement. You have moved from the wrong spirit before. You know what that costs. You have said yes while afraid. You have said no while bitter. You have stayed when God said leave. You have left when God said wait. And grace covered you, but maturity is calling now. Maturity does not mean you never feel fear. It means fear no longer drives. Maturity does not mean you never cry. It means tears no longer become agreements with defeat. Maturity does not mean you know everything. It means you ask God before you move. Ask before Wednesday. Ask before you answer. Ask before you sign. Ask before you return. Ask before you post. Ask before you explain yourself again. Because the test may not arrive with thunder. It may arrive as one small moment where obedience looks inconvenient. Heaven often tests in small moments. A word held back. A message left unanswered. A room walked out of. A temptation refused in silence. And the world may never know, but the spirit realm recognizes when a chosen one passes a hidden test. That hidden test is important. Public elevation is often decided in private obedience. People want the open door, but they ignore the private gate. They want the breakthrough, but they overlook the small instruction that determines whether their spirit can carry the breakthrough without collapsing. God is not withholding because He is cruel. He is weighing capacity. He is testing alignment. He is strengthening the vessel. Because the blessing that is coming cannot be carried by the version of you that still needs chaos to feel alive. That sentence may sting. Let it. Some parts of you learn to survive in chaos. Calm feels unfamiliar. Peace feels suspicious. Healthy doors feel slow. And sometimes your nervous system tries to run back to what hurt you because pain feels more familiar than peace. This is why Wednesday is not only about an external event, it is also about your inner agreement with peace. Can you accept a door that does not require you to beg? Can you trust a blessing that does not arrive through panic? Can you receive without proving your pain first? God wants to heal the part of you that thinks every blessing must come with torment. That is not His voice. That is trauma speaking in religious clothing. The Father does not need to break you to bless you, but He will correct what keeps making you choose broken doors. Correction is mercy. Warning is mercy. Delay is mercy. Silence can be mercy. And before Wednesday, mercy is speaking loudly, because God would rather interrupt your plans today than let you walk into confusion tomorrow and call it destiny. Some of you felt this exact warning yesterday. You felt a pull to slow down. You felt a strange resistance to something you thought you wanted. You opened a conversation, and something in you said, wait. That was not random hesitation, that was divine restraint. Divine restraint has saved you before. You did not always recognize it. Sometimes you called it disappointment. Sometimes you called it delay. Sometimes you cried because God blocked what you wanted. But later, you saw enough to whisper, thank you for not letting me have it. That same protection is active now. Do not fight it. If God is making something feel heavy, do not force it to feel light. If God is making something feel unclear, do not pretend it is peace. If heaven is slowing your feet, stop calling slowness failure. You are not failing because you are waiting. You are not failing because you are quiet. You are not failing because you are saying no to what excites your emotions but disturbs your spirit. You fail only when you betray the warning to satisfy the old hunger. Do not fail God now. Not because God is harsh, not because He is waiting to punish you. Do not fail God now because He has carried you too far for you to hand your future back to the same cycle that almost buried you. You know the cycle. It begins with pressure, then comes loneliness, then comes a counterfeit comfort, then comes a rushed yes, Then comes confusion. Then comes regret. And after regret, you start praying for deliverance from a door God warned you not to open. This time can be different. It must be different. The warning came early. The spirit is alert. The door has not fully opened yet. The final test has not finished. And because you are hearing this before tomorrow, you still have time to choose alignment. Receive that as mercy. You still have time. You still have authority. You still have the ability to pause. You still have the right to say, God, if this is not from you, shut it down before my emotions attach to it. That prayer is powerful. It invites divine interruption. It gives God permission to block what your flesh might chase. And a chosen one who can pray that prayer before Wednesday is already walking in a higher level of surrender than the enemy expected. The enemy expected panic. He expected you to grab. He expected you to explain. He expected you to text back. He expected you to open the old door because it knocked at a vulnerable hour. But heaven expected something different from you. Heaven expected growth. Heaven expected obedience. Heaven expected the version of you that has been trained in quiet places. Heaven expected the one who can feel deeply without being ruled by feeling. And that is the version this test has come to reveal. That is why you must not despise the pressure. Pressure reveals structure. It shows what is stable and what still needs surrender. When the pressure rises before Wednesday, do not ask only, why is this happening? Ask, what is this revealing? Is it revealing fear of being alone? Is it revealing hunger for approval? Is it revealing a need to control timing? Is it revealing that you still trust urgency more than peace? These questions are not condemnation, they are keys. God does not expose to embarrass. He exposes to deliver. If he shows you a pattern before Wednesday, it is because he wants you free before the test becomes public. Private revelation is a gift because it gives you space to change without an audience. Use the space, use the silence, use the warning. Do not scroll your way out of conviction. Do not entertain your way out of instruction. Sit with this. Let the words search you, but do not let them shame you, because shame is not the voice of God. Conviction leads you home. Shame pushes you into hiding. Conviction says, come closer. Shame says, run. Conviction gives instruction. Shame gives accusation. And right now, heaven is not accusing you. Heaven is calling you back into your authority before the test begins. Your authority is real, but it must be guarded. A crown does not mean you can walk carelessly. An assignment does not mean every door is safe. Being chosen does not mean you cannot be distracted. It means distraction will be designed more carefully against you. The enemy studies your kindness. He studies your compassion. He studies your need to see the good in people. Then he sends people who look wounded enough to bypass your boundaries, hoping your empathy will open a gate your discernment was trying to close. Do not let empathy override obedience. You can love people and still obey God. You can forgive people and still keep distance. You can pray for people and still refuse access. The test is whether you can remain tender without becoming available to what God removed. This is for the one who keeps feeling guilty for growing. Stop calling growth betrayal. Stop calling boundaries pride. Stop calling obedience selfish. God is not asking you to abandon love. He is teaching you how to love without handing your soul to every broken vessel. Wednesday will test that. Someone may need a reaction. Something may demand an answer. A familiar pressure may knock, and the old you would have moved quickly, but the new you must pause long enough to ask, does this carry the peace of God? Peace is not always comfortable. Peace can feel firm. Peace can say no. Peace can close a door. Peace can remove a person. Peace can make your flesh tremble because it refuses what your wound still wants to chase. Do not confuse peace with pleasure. The wrong door may please the wound. The right door may challenge the flesh. That is why you need discernment deeper than emotion, because emotion remembers history, but discernment recognizes assignment. Assignment is the center of this warning. You are not merely protecting a mood. You are protecting an assignment. You are protecting a future. You are protecting the version of you that God has been building through every hidden season and every unanswered question. The test is coming near the assignment because the enemy knows access must be gained before elevation. He wants one open gate, one emotional agreement, one careless conversation, one night of old thinking. But God is saying, not this time, not this time, not after all those tears, not after all those prayers, not after all those nights when you had to choose God with no evidence, not after the wilderness shaped you and the silence purified what applause once could have corrupted. You did not suffer for nothing. You did not wait for nothing. You did not lose people for nothing. You did not feel hidden for nothing. God was not burying you. He was planting you, and planted things must resist the urge to dig themselves up too early. Stay planted before Wednesday. Do not uproot yourself for a voice that does not carry God. Do not chase what requires you to abandon peace. Do not prove your worth to a door that only opens when you are desperate. If it is from God, peace can guard it. If it is from God, obedience will not destroy it. If it is from God, you do not have to become frantic to keep it. What God sends can survive your stillness. That is a word for you. What God sends can survive your stillness. If silence makes it disappear, it was not assigned. If boundaries expose it, it was not safe. If prayer causes it to fade, it was not heaven. It was a counterfeit wearing urgency. Let counterfeit doors fade. Let false voices fade. Let old cravings fade. Let desperate agreements fade. You are entering a test that requires clean hearing. And clean hearing begins when you stop feeding every sound that demands your attention. Your attention has been under attack. Notice how hard it has been to focus. Notice how quickly your mind jumps from one worry to another. Notice how simple tasks feel heavier. This is not just fatigue. It is a strategy against your clarity. Clarity is dangerous to darkness. A clear chosen one is hard to manipulate. A steady chosen one is hard to rush. A discerning chosen one is hard to deceive. That is why the enemy would rather keep you scattered than openly attack you. Scattered thoughts create scattered choices. Scattered choices create delayed obedience. Delayed obedience creates open gates. And open gates create cycles that feel spiritual, but began with one unguarded thought that you allowed to become an agreement. Guard the thought. Guard the first whisper. Guard the first image. Guard the first emotional pull. Before a door opens in your life, it often opens in your imagination, and the enemy knows how to rehearse bondage inside your mind before it appears outside. This is why the dreams have been intense. Some dreams were cleansing, some were warnings, some were your mind processing pain, but some carried patterns you needed to recognize, because God was showing you what still tries to enter through memory. Do not fear the dreams. Bring them to God. Ask for clarity. Ask for peace. Ask for separation between what is holy and what is noise. The chosen one must not build doctrine from every dream, but must not ignore repeated warnings either. Balance is part of the test. You must not panic, but you must not be dull. You must not obsess, but you must pay attention. You must not fear Wednesday, but you must enter it soberly, because sobriety is one of the marks of spiritual maturity. Your spirit is being sobered now. That is why childish distractions are losing flavor. That is why certain entertainment feels empty. That is why gossip no longer feeds you. That is why your soul wants quiet more than noise, even when quiet makes you face yourself. Facing yourself is holy work. It is not easy. It brings up grief, anger, longing, and old questions. But God is not bringing these things up to drown you. He is bringing them up so they cannot secretly steer you when the test arrives. Hidden pain cannot drive a surrendered vessel. Hidden fear cannot keep leading your choices. Hidden hunger cannot keep selecting your doors. The Father is touching what was hidden Because Wednesday requires a person who can see the trap before it wears a blessing costume. Blessing costumes exist. The wrong thing can dress like relief. The wrong person can speak like destiny. The wrong opportunity can sound like answered prayer. And if your soul is tired, you may choose what calms the wound rather than what confirms the will of God. This is the danger. Not destruction from outside, not God turning away, not heaven closing forever. The danger is misalignment, disguised as relief. The danger is a fast yes from a tired spirit. The danger is opening a door God only wanted you to observe. Some doors are not invitations. Some doors are revelations. They open so you can see what you have outgrown. They appear so you can recognize your growth. They knock so you can prove that your healing is not just a feeling, it is a new boundary. You are about to prove growth, not to people, to the spirit realm, to the old cycle, to the accusing voice that said you would always go back. The test is not here to expose failure. It is here to reveal that the old grip has weakened, but you must cooperate. Grace does not mean carelessness. Protection does not mean passivity. God can warn you, guard you, send confirmation, slow your feet, and stir your spirit. But you still must choose not to override the warning. Do not override the warning. That is the first instruction. Do not explain it away because you want the door. Do not silence it because someone else approves the door. Do not mock it because your mind lacks evidence. Some of your greatest protections came before evidence appeared. Evidence often comes late. Discernment comes early. That is why chosen ones sometimes look strange to people who only trust what they can see. You may step back before others understand why. You may say no before facts arrive. That is not madness. That is trained sensitivity. God has been training you for this. Through every time something felt wrong and later proved wrong. Through every time your spirit warned you before your eyes caught up. Through every time you ignored the warning and paid for it. Nothing was wasted. Even the mistakes trained you. The painful yes trained you. The rushed decision trained you. The false connection trained you. The open door that became bondage trained you. And now God is asking you to use the wisdom pain taught without living in fear of pain. Wisdom is not fear. Wisdom is healed memory. Fear says, never trust again. Wisdom says, trust God first. Fear says, hide forever. Wisdom says, guard the gate. Fear says, everyone will hurt you. Wisdom says, test the spirit before giving access. Test the spirit, test the timing, test the peace, test the fruit. Do not be impressed by intensity. Intensity is not always anointing. Sometimes intensity is chaos wearing passion, and if you are not careful, you will call emotional heat a divine fire. Divine fire purifies. Strange fire consumes. Divine fire brings obedience. Strange fire brings confusion. Divine fire makes you humble and clear. Strange fire makes you impulsive and restless. Before Wednesday, ask God to remove every strange fire from your emotions. That prayer matters, because the final test may not feel like a test. It may feel like an impulse. It may feel like a chance. It may feel like closure. It may feel like justice. And the enemy is counting on you to obey the feeling before you test the source. Do not obey every feeling. Feelings are real, but they are not always rulers. Your pain is real, but it is not always prophetic. Your longing is real, but it is not always instruction. Your anger is real, but it is not always authority. God wants your feelings healed, not enthroned. He wants your heart tender, not reckless. He wants your intuition clean, not contaminated by old fear. And this is why the pressure before Wednesday is revealing what still tries to sit on the throne of your decisions. Who is on the throne? Fear or God? Wound or wisdom? Urgency or peace? Old identity or chosen authority? That is the question underneath the question, and every smaller test before Wednesday is pointing back to that one hidden throne. If fear is on the throne, you will move too fast. If wound is on the throne, you will choose what feels familiar. If urgency is on the throne, you will confuse speed with favor. But if God is on the throne, you can pause without panic. The pause is holy. The pause gives heaven room. The pause breaks the spell of urgency. The pause lets your spirit catch up to your emotions. And many battles are won in the pause before the word, the pause before the reply, the pause before the yes. Practice that pause now. Breathe slowly. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands open. You do not have to solve everything tonight, and you do not have to prove anything before tomorrow. You only have to return to the place where God can lead you clearly. The place is stillness. The place is surrender. The place is obedience without spectacle. The place is where you stop asking every person for confirmation and start trusting that the same God who warned you can also guide you. He will guide you. But guidance requires listening. Listening requires quiet. Quiet requires courage. Because when the noise fades, the truth becomes harder to avoid. And some of you already know what truth God has been whispering. You know what needs to end. You know what needs to wait. You know what needs to be released. You know what needs to be ignored. You know which door has been carrying a strange heaviness, even while your mind keeps trying to make it make sense. Stop forcing peace onto what God has not blessed. Stop dressing confusion in spiritual language. Stop calling anxiety a challenge from God when the Holy Spirit has been warning you to step back. The test is not to endure every burden. It is to discern which burden is not yours. Not every weight is yours. Not every battle is yours. Not every person is yours to rescue. Not every invitation is yours to accept. Some weights are assignments, but some weights are bait, and wisdom knows the difference before exhaustion makes the choice. Exhaustion is a dangerous decision maker. That is why the enemy attacked your rest. He knew if he could keep you tired, your standards would weaken. He knew if he could keep your mind noisy, your discernment would blur before the most important hour. But God is restoring alertness through this warning. Even now, something inside you is waking up. Not panic, not fear. A deeper steadiness. The kind of steadiness that says, I see the trap now, and I do not have to walk into it. Hold that steadiness. Let it become your posture. Let it follow you into the next conversation, the next choice, the next silence, and the next hour before Wednesday. Because the test is not passed by hearing only, it is passed by obeying what hearing reveals. You are hearing for a reason. You were brought here before tomorrow for a reason. The timing is not random. The pressure is not random. The warning is not random. Heaven is giving you enough light to take the next right step without seeing the entire road. That is how God trains trust. He does not always show the whole road. He gives enough light for obedience. He gives enough warning for protection. He gives enough confirmation for courage. And then he watches whether the chosen one will move by faith or by fear. Faith may look quiet tonight. Faith may look like not answering. Faith may look like turning the phone off. Faith may look like going to sleep instead of spiraling. Faith may look like saying, God, if you are not in it, I do not want it. That is powerful faith. It does not need an audience. It does not need applause. It does not need dramatic language. It simply refuses to betray the voice of God for a counterfeit comfort at the edge of a test. You are at the edge now, the edge of Wednesday, the edge of a door, the edge of an old cycle, the edge of a new kind of obedience. And the next part of this message will show you why this danger is not punishment, but divine screening. Stay with this. The pressure has a purpose. The delay has a reason. The door has a test attached to it. And before you can pass Wednesday, you must understand why God allowed the danger to appear close enough for you to see it, but not close enough to destroy you. The pressure has a purpose. The delay has a reason. The door has a test attached to it. You are not being hunted because heaven is weak. You are being screened because what is coming cannot be carried by a divided heart. And God is using this hour to reveal what still asks for your agreement. Chosen one, let me reframe this now. Danger does not always mean destruction. Sometimes danger means proximity to destiny. Sometimes the alarm sounds because the gate is near, and heaven wants your eyes open before the counterfeit voice starts speaking with the confidence of a promise. This is why you must not interpret the warning through fear. God is not saying Wednesday belongs to darkness. God is saying Wednesday is an appointed checkpoint, and the enemy is trying to meet you at that checkpoint with confusion before you arrive with obedience. Some of you already feel that this message is touching the place where your clarity has been locked. I want to name something gently now, so it does not feel hidden later. There is a restoration tool called the Genius Song, made to support gamma clarity through sound and attention. Do not leave the message for that yet. Stay with the word first. If your spirit already senses that your mind has been foggy for too long, the path will be in the description and the pinned comment. But the deeper reason will become clear when we reach the heart of the test. For now, hear this. God is not trying to sell you fear. He is trying to restore your hearing. A chosen one with unclear hearing can mistake urgency for instruction, and a tired spirit can call a counterfeit door a miracle because it arrived when loneliness was loud. That is why the first door of obedience is not a public door. It is a private door. It is the door inside your own response. Before God tests what you choose in front of people, He tests what you agree with when no one sees the battle in your chest. You thought the test was the thing approaching you, but the first test is what rises inside you when it approaches. Does panic rise first? Does pride rise first? Does old hunger rise first? Or does a deeper obedience rise and say, I will not move without God? This is why the warning came before tomorrow. It came early enough for you to examine the first reaction. Not the polished reaction you show people. Not the spiritual words you say after you calm down. The first reaction. The raw place. The place that reveals what still rules. Do not despise that revelation. If fear rose first, God is not finished. If anger rose first, God is not condemning you. If desperation rose first, God is showing you where healing still needs authority, so that Wednesday does not expose it in a more costly way. Private exposure is mercy. God reveals in secret what He wants to heal before it becomes public. He lets the pressure touch the weak place now, because He would rather correct you in silence than let the old pattern choose your future in front of the wrong door. This is not punishment, it is preparation. It is not rejection, it is alignment. The enemy wants you to believe the heaviness means you are losing, but heaven says the heaviness is showing you exactly where your obedience must become stronger than your feelings. There is a part of you that wants fast relief. God understands that. You have waited long. You have been misunderstood. You have been strong for people who never asked if you were tired. And when relief appears suddenly, the wounded part of you wants to call it God. But chosen one, relief is not always rescue. Sometimes relief is bait. Sometimes the thing that calms your anxiety for one night can steal your peace for a whole season. That is why you must test what offers comfort before you let it enter your gate. The door of obedience is often quiet. It does not flatter your ego. It does not always satisfy your flesh. It may ask you to wait when everything inside you wants movement, and it may ask you to remain silent when your wounded pride wants one final explanation. This is where many chosen ones miss the test. They think obedience must feel dramatic. They expect thunder. They expect signs in the sky. But sometimes obedience is simply not replying. Sometimes obedience is simply closing the app. Sometimes obedience is sleeping instead of spiraling. Small obedience carries great weight. Heaven sees the message you do not send. Heaven sees the argument you do not enter. Heaven sees the offer you do not grab, because peace was missing. The spirit realm recognizes restraint, even when people call it silence. Your restraint is not weakness. Your restraint is a weapon. The enemy expected you to move from the wound. He expected you to defend yourself. He expected you to chase closure. But every time you refuse to leave alignment, the old cycle loses another piece of authority. This is why Wednesday cannot be approached with the old rhythm. The old rhythm was pressure, reaction, regret, prayer, repair. The new rhythm must be pressure, pause, prayer, discernment, obedience. That pause between pressure and movement is where your future is being protected. God has been lengthening that pause in you. You may not have noticed it. Before, you reacted quickly. Before, your chest burned and your hands moved before your spirit could speak. Now something in you hesitates, and that holy hesitation is evidence of growth. Do not call hesitation confusion too quickly. Sometimes hesitation is the Holy Spirit placing a hand on your shoulder. Sometimes the delay inside your own body is protection. Sometimes the reason you cannot move with confidence is because heaven has not released peace over that direction. Peace is a language. Your spirit understands it. Your flesh does not always like it. Your mind may argue with it. Other people may pressure you to ignore it. But peace has a sound, and when you have walked with God long enough, you learn when that sound is missing. You know the sound of missing peace. Your stomach tightens. Your thoughts repeat. Your body becomes alert. You keep needing to ask people what they think because deep inside, you already know something is not settled. That unsettled place is not always fear. Sometimes it is warning. Do not outsource what God is already speaking. Confirmation is good, but dependence on constant confirmation can become another door of delay. When God has been clear in the quiet, asking 10 more people may only give your fear 10 more voices to hide behind. The first door of obedience is trusting the whisper before the crisis. It is honoring the check in your spirit before the evidence arrives. It is refusing to demand proof from God when He has already given you enough peace to wait and enough warning to stop. That is hard for you because people trained you to doubt yourself. They made you feel dramatic. They made you feel too intense. They made you apologize for sensing what later proved true. But God is restoring your confidence in the holy knowing He placed inside you. Not every thought is God. Not every feeling is discernment. But not every warning is anxiety either. Wisdom is learning the difference. And this season has been teaching you that difference through repetition, through quiet correction, and through the discomfort of being right before others understand. You do not need everyone to understand before you obey. Noah did not need a crowd to agree with rain. David did not need his brothers to agree with his anointing. Esther did not need safety to agree with her assignment. Obedience often looks foolish before it looks fruitful. Wednesday may require that kind of obedience, not loud, not dramatic, not performed for people. Just a quiet yes to God and a quiet no to the old pattern. That may be the narrow door that determines whether the next season opens cleanly. The enemy wants to make obedience feel like loss. He wants you to think that if you do not answer, you lose power. If you do not explain, you lose dignity. If you do not chase, you lose the blessing. But heaven is teaching you another law. What is from God does not require you to abandon God to keep it. What is from God will not demand that you betray peace to prove desire. What is from God can survive a night of prayer, a pause of discernment, and a boundary spoken without fear. Let that sink in. If it cannot survive your obedience, it was never your assignment. If it collapses when you choose peace, it was built on manipulation. If it punishes you for needing clarity, it was not sent to honor your destiny. This is the reframe. The danger is not the presence of a test. Tests are normal for chosen vessels. The danger is entering a test with unhealed interpretations. The same moment that destroys one pattern can elevate a surrendered person, depending on the agreement they carry. Your agreement is powerful. You have been agreeing with too much without noticing. Agreeing with fear, agreeing with lack, agreeing with the idea that you are hard to love, agreeing with the lie that you are behind. Those silent agreements shape your reactions more than you know. Before Wednesday, God is asking you to cancel those agreements, not with noise, not with performance, with truth. You cancel fear by choosing trust. You cancel lack by choosing patience. You cancel rejection by remembering that being hidden by God is not the same as being forgotten. You are hidden, not forgotten, set apart, not rejected, delayed, not denied, corrected, not condemned, trained, not punished. These distinctions matter because if you misread the season, you will misread the test, and if you misread the test, you may choose the wrong door. God is teaching you the language of the season. The language is not hurry. The language is not panic. The language is not prove yourself now. The language is watch, wait, weigh, and walk only when peace and obedience meet. This is why certain things slowed down. You thought delay was the enemy. Sometimes it was God blocking speed, because speed would have exposed you to a door your character was not ready to refuse. Delay gave your discernment time to become stronger than your desperation. Think about the things you once begged for. Some of them would have trapped you if God had said yes when you demanded it. Some of them looked like blessing from the outside, but would have fed the unhealed part of you that still confused intensity with love. God protected you through not yet. God delivered you through wait. God answered you through silence. And now, as Wednesday approaches, He is asking you to remember that His timing has been wiser than your panic every single time. You do not need to understand every delay to trust the hand behind it. A child does not always understand why a father closes a gate, but a mature son or daughter learns to recognize love, even when love arrives as a closed door. That is where your maturity is being tested. Can you recognize love when it says no? Can you recognize protection when it slows you down? Can you recognize mercy when it interrupts what your flesh wanted to call destiny? This is the first door of obedience, the door of interpretation. Before you choose an action, you choose a meaning. If you interpret the pressure through fear, you will move from fear. If you interpret it through faith, you will stand until God speaks clearly. Interpretation is a battlefield. The enemy does not need to change the facts if he can change the meaning you attach to them. He wants silence to mean abandonment. He wants waiting to mean rejection. He wants correction to mean shame. But God is rewriting the meaning now. Silence means God is training your hearing. Waiting means God is protecting the timing. Correction means God still values the vessel. Pressure means the old pattern is being exposed, so the new authority can rise. You are not the same person. That sentence must become more than comfort. It must become law inside you. When the old door knocks, the new you must answer differently. When the old fear speaks, the new you must refuse to bow. The old you needed immediate reassurance. The new you can rest in unseen protection. The old you chased explanations. The new you values peace. The old you opened every door that promised relief. The new you tests the spirit and waits for God. This is growth. It may feel uncomfortable because growth often removes familiar coping habits before the new strength feels natural. You may feel exposed without the old reactions. You may feel strange when you do not chase. But strange does not mean wrong. Freedom feels strange at first. Peace feels quiet at first. Boundaries feel selfish at first. Obedience feels costly at first. But later, what once felt strange becomes your new nature, and the cycle that used to pull you begins to lose your address. The enemy is losing your address. He keeps sending old invitations to a person who is no longer living there. He keeps knocking at wounds that God has been closing. He keeps speaking to an identity that heaven has already renamed. Do not answer to the old name. Do not answer when shame calls you rejected. Do not answer when fear calls you forgotten. Do not answer when scarcity calls you desperate. Your name in this season is chosen, guarded, corrected, prepared, and still held by God. Wednesday will test which name you believe. If you believe the old name, you will move like the old self. If you believe the name heaven speaks, you will walk differently, even when the same temptation appears with new clothing. This is why identity must come before decision. You cannot make a chosen decision while believing you are abandoned. You cannot make a holy decision while believing you are desperate. You cannot pass a divine test while agreeing with a false identity. So let God rename the moment. This is not danger as doom. This is danger as alertness. This is not Wednesday as curse. This is Wednesday as checkpoint. This is not final test as terror. This is final test as proof that training has reached the gate. Training always reaches a gate. The wilderness eventually leads somewhere. The hidden season eventually meets a public moment. The tears eventually become testimony. But before the testimony is released, the vessel is examined for leaks. That is what this is. God is checking for leaks. Places where fear leaks out. Places where resentment leaks out. Places where people-pleasing leaks out. Places where old shame leaks out. He is not exposing leaks to shame the vessel. He is sealing them before the pouring. You have asked God to use you. You have asked God to trust you with more. You have asked for open doors, divine connection, clarity, provision, and breakthrough. But every larger assignment requires a more sealed vessel. A leaking vessel cannot carry new oil for long. It may receive something powerful, but it loses it through unguarded access, emotional agreements, careless words, and old attachments. God loves you too much to pour more into places that still leak. That is why He is sealing you. The loneliness was part of sealing. The silence was part of sealing. The closed doors were part of sealing. The strange discomfort around certain people was part of sealing. He was teaching your spirit to stop leaking into places that never honored the oil. Your oil is not common. Your presence carries weight. Your words carry impact. Your prayers move things you cannot see. That is why the enemy wants access before Wednesday, because he knows a sealed chosen one is dangerous in the spirit. Do not leak tonight. Do not leak through complaint. Do not leak through old messages. Do not leak through secret scrolling that feeds comparison. Do not leak through rehearsing conversations God already told you to release. Preserve the oil. Preserving the oil may look boring to the flesh. It may look like quiet. It may look like logging off. It may look like choosing water, sleep, prayer, and stillness instead of feeding the storm. But in the spirit, that quiet obedience is violent against darkness. Darkness feeds on agreement. It feeds on your yes to fear. It feeds on your attention to accusation. It feeds on your repeated rehearsal of what hurt you. When you stop feeding it, the voice becomes weaker and your spirit becomes clear enough to hear God again. This is why clarity matters. You cannot pass a test you cannot discern. You cannot discern while feeding every distraction. You cannot hear God clearly while rehearsing fear all night. And you cannot walk through the right door while staring at the counterfeit. Turn your gaze. Turn it back to God. Turn it back to the promise. Turn it back to what He already taught you. You do not need a new word if you have not obeyed the last one. And some of you already know the last instruction. The last instruction was wait. The last instruction was release. The last instruction was be silent. The last instruction was stop explaining. The last instruction was do not go back. The last instruction was guard your peace until the next door becomes clear. Obey that instruction before asking for another. That is part of the test. God is not withholding guidance. He is asking whether you will honor the guidance already given. Many people want fresh revelation when the key is still simple obedience. Simple obedience is powerful. It breaks cycles that deep emotion could not break. It protects doors that talent could not protect. It proves trust in places where words are easy, but surrender is costly. And it tells heaven that the chosen one is ready for wait. Wait is coming, not crushing wait, glory wait, assignment wait, responsibility wait, breakthrough wait. The kind of wait that requires a steady inner life, because what God releases next cannot be managed by a soul addicted to chaos. You are being freed from chaos. That is why chaos keeps trying to visit. It wants to see if it still has a seat. It wants to see if you still respond to its rhythm. It wants to see if your nervous system still mistakes turbulence for love. But the new you must choose calm. The new you must learn to receive peace without suspicion. The new you must stop asking chaos to confirm passion. God is teaching you that true fire can be steady, and true destiny does not need disorder to feel alive. This is a deep healing. It reaches into childhood. It reaches into old abandonment. It reaches into the years when you had to fight for attention, explain your pain, and perform strength just to be taken seriously. God saw all of it. He saw the child in you who learned to watch rooms before entering them. He saw the teenager who felt different and could not explain why. He saw the adult who became strong because weakness was not safe around the people who should have protected you. None of that was invisible to heaven. But now God is saying that survival skills cannot become permanent rulers. What protected you in one season may limit you in another. The test before Wednesday is asking whether survival can bow to surrender. Survival says, control everything. Surrender says, trust God. Survival says, answer before they leave. Surrender says, what God sends will not require panic. Survival says, prove your worth. Surrender says, I am already loved before the door opens. That shift is not small. It is a spiritual graduation. It is a breaking of the old inner government. For years, fear made laws inside you. Pain enforced them. Rejection repeated them. But now the kingdom of God is rewriting the laws of your inner world. Now, stay with this. The reframe is only the beginning. Once you see that danger is a screening and not a sentence, you must recognize the pattern God has used with every chosen vessel. The next part will show you why the test before the door is never random. Now stay with this. The reframe is only the beginning. Once you see that danger is a screening and not a sentence, you must recognize the pattern God has used with every chosen vessel. The test before the door is never random. God does not elevate without examination. He does not release weight without preparation. He does not open sacred doors to a divided spirit. And before every appointed person steps into a new level, there is usually a hidden moment where obedience is tested before the crowd ever sees the promise. Look at Moses. Before he stood before Pharaoh, he was shaped in the wilderness. Before his voice carried authority in Egypt, his identity had to be broken away from the palace and rebuilt in the desert. God did not waste those hidden years. Moses probably thought delay meant exile, but heaven called it preparation. He probably thought the wilderness meant loss, but God called it training. And when the burning bush finally appeared, the man who felt disqualified was standing on ground God had already chosen. That is how God works with chosen vessels. He often prepares the person before he reveals the assignment. He often breaks the false identity before he releases true authority. He often lets the wilderness do what comfort could never do inside the soul. You may be in that same pattern. You thought this season was only delay. You thought it was punishment. You thought you were being held back while others moved ahead. But God may have been burning away the false version of strength that could not survive the next door. Moses had to learn that authority did not come from a palace. It came from obedience. He had to learn that calling did not depend on confidence. It depended on God. He had to learn that the staff in his hand became powerful only when surrendered. What is in your hand right now? A small gift, a quiet instruction, a delayed dream, a strange burden, a warning about Wednesday. It may look ordinary to others, but when surrendered to God, ordinary things become signs of divine authority. Do not despise what looks small. The test often begins with what is already in your hand. God may ask you to use the little strength you still have, the little clarity you still have, and the little obedience you can give before He reveals the next level. This is not about how powerful you feel. Moses did not feel ready. He questioned his speech. He questioned his identity. He questioned his ability. But the presence of fear did not cancel the call, because God was not looking for a performer. He was forming a vessel. That is for you. Fear does not cancel your assignment. Trembling does not mean God made a mistake. Feeling unready does not mean you are unchosen. Sometimes the people who tremble before the door are the ones who understand the weight of it most deeply. But fear must not drive. It can be present, but it cannot lead. Moses had fear, but he still moved. He had questions, but he still listened. He had resistance, but he still turned aside to the burning bush and paid attention to the voice. Pay attention now. Your burning bush may not look like fire. It may look like a warning in your spirit. It may look like a door that feels wrong. It may look like peace, leaving a decision you wanted to force. God speaks through holy interruption. This message is that kind of interruption. It is not here to entertain you. It is here to turn you aside before Wednesday. Moses had to turn aside before he heard the full instruction. And many chosen ones miss God because they will not turn aside from their normal rhythm. You have been too rushed, too crowded inside, too available to noise, too open to voices that do not carry peace. And now God is calling you aside, because the instruction for the test cannot be heard while your soul is running in 10 directions. This is why the enemy fights your attention. He knows attention is a gate. If he can scatter your mind, he can blur your discernment. If he can blur your discernment, he can make a counterfeit door look like the answer to your prayer. What Scripture calls discernment, research often observes as a higher state of attention. When the mind is scattered, even a chosen person can misread the moment. When the mind becomes clear, the spirit can hear without all the noise fighting for the throne. That is why clarity matters so deeply in this test. You do not need more noise. You need clean hearing. You do not need another frantic sign. You need a mind quiet enough to recognize what God already placed in your spirit. Moses turned aside. That was the first movement. Not marching, not fighting, not proving. Turning aside. A small act of attention. And because he turned aside, the wilderness became holy ground instead of just another place of delay. Your delay can become holy ground too. Your waiting can become revelation. Your loneliness can become instruction. Your heaviness can become a warning that saves you from a door your flesh would have opened if God had not slowed your feet. Now look at David. Before he sat on the throne, he had to pass tests in private places. The oil touched his head, but the crown did not touch his life immediately. He was anointed, then sent back to ordinary work. That is painful. To know something is on your life, but still feel hidden. To sense promise, but still deal with sheep. To carry oil, but still be overlooked by people who only recognize titles. David knew that tension. You know it too. You have felt something on your life that others could not see. You have sensed that your story was not finished. You have carried a strange awareness that God had marked you, even while your outer life looked too ordinary to prove it. That gap has been one of your deepest pains. The gap between what your spirit knows and what your circumstances show. The gap between the oil and the throne. The gap between the promise and the public evidence. That gap is where many chosen ones are tested. David did not become king because he had oil alone. He became king because he passed private tests after the oil. He protected sheep. He faced lions. He faced bears. He learned courage where nobody clapped and nobody called him important. Private courage comes before public victory. That is why you must not despise hidden battles. Every time you resisted bitterness, you were training. Every time you stayed faithful without recognition, you were training. Every time you protected peace when nobody saw it, you were training. Goliath was not David's first battle. It was his public proof. The private battles prepared him for the public one. And this is why Wednesday may feel larger than normal, because it may not be the beginning of your testing. It may be the public proof of hidden training. You have already passed more than you think. You passed nights when nobody knew you were breaking. You passed seasons where you wanted revenge, but chose prayer. You passed moments where you wanted to quit, but still got up. Heaven recorded every one. But the enemy wants you to forget your record. He wants you to focus on the one thing still uncertain. He wants Wednesday to feel like an impossible threat instead of a checkpoint that the hidden training has already prepared you to face. David did not defeat Goliath with borrowed armor. Remember that. He refused to wear what did not fit. He refused to imitate someone else's method. He stepped into the battle with what God had trained in his own hands. Do not borrow armor before Wednesday. Do not copy someone else's strategy because fear makes you feel unprepared. Do not seek advice from people who do not understand your assignment. The weapon God trained in you may look simple, but it fits your obedience. Your weapon may be silence. Your weapon may be discernment. Your weapon may be patience. Your weapon may be a boundary. Your weapon may be one sentence spoken with peace. The weapon does not need to impress people. It needs to obey God. David's sling looked small, but small surrendered things become powerful in appointed hands. The enemy wants you to think you need something dramatic to pass the test. God may be asking for one simple act of obedience that breaks the entire cycle. One unanswered message can be a sling. One refused temptation can be a sling. One quiet prayer can be a sling. One peaceful no can be a sling. One decision not to panic can strike the forehead of a giant that has mocked your bloodline for years. That is why you must not underestimate the next small choice. Wednesday may turn on something small, a response, a pause, a refusal, a moment of clarity, a decision to keep your spirit clean when everything around you tries to provoke the old version of you. The test will not always announce itself as a giant. Sometimes the giant comes as a feeling. Sometimes it comes as an old craving. Sometimes it comes as a familiar voice. Sometimes it comes as pressure to prove that you are not afraid. Do not prove. Obey. David did not stand before Goliath to prove himself to his brothers. He stood because the name of God was being mocked. That is the difference between ego and assignment. Ego needs validation. Assignment protects what belongs to God. Before Wednesday, ask yourself this: am I about to move from ego or assignment? Am I answering because God told me, or because I want someone to see me? Am I opening this door from peace, or because I want to silence the fear of being left behind? These questions are part of the test. They are not meant to paralyze you. They are meant to purify you. God is not trying to make you afraid of movement. He is teaching you to separate movement from pressure and obedience from impulse. Now look at Esther. She did not choose the pressure around her. She was placed in a palace during a dangerous hour. Her people were under threat. Her silence had a cost. Her speech had a cost. And she had to decide which cost belonged to obedience. That is a mature test. When silence costs something and speech costs something. When hiding feels safe but assignment keeps pressing. When you realize comfort cannot be the final judge, because some doors require courage that fear will never approve. Esther had to approach the king, but before she moved publicly, she prepared privately. She fasted. She gathered spiritual agreement. She did not rush into the room on emotion alone. She entered the moment with weight, timing, and consecration. That is the pattern for you. Do not enter Wednesday raw. Do not enter it scattered. Do not enter it full of noise. Prepare your spirit. Fast from chaos if you need to. Fast from arguments. Fast from old conversations. Fast from whatever keeps pulling your attention from God. Preparation is not fear. Preparation is honor. Esther honored the weight of the assignment by refusing to treat it casually. And you must honor the weight of your test by refusing to enter it with a careless mind and an unguarded heart. There is a reason your spirit has been asking for quiet. Quiet is not empty. Quiet is where instruction becomes clear. Quiet is where the motives are revealed. Quiet is where you stop performing strength and let God show you what courage must look like next. Esther had to know the difference between self-protection and divine timing. If she moved too soon, the cost could be severe. If she stayed silent too long, the cost could also be severe. Her test was not only courage, It was timing. Your test may also be timing. Not just what to do, but when. Not just what to say, but when. Not just what to accept, but when. The enemy loves to corrupt timing, because even a right thing in a wrong moment can create confusion. Do not let pressure corrupt timing. Do not let people hurry what God has not released. Do not let fear delay what God has commanded. There is a holy middle place where surrender waits without panic and moves without fear when the moment is appointed. That place is where Esther stood. She did not move from ego. She did not hide forever. She consecrated, then acted. And when she stepped forward, the favor she needed met her at the point of obedience. Favor meets obedience, remember that. Favor does not always meet panic. Favor does not always meet performance. Favor does not always meet desperate chasing. But when a chosen vessel steps into God's timing with a surrendered heart, doors open that fear said would kill them. Some of you are afraid Wednesday will harm you. But what if Wednesday reveals favor? What if the very moment that looks like danger becomes the moment where hidden preparation meets visible protection? What if the test is not sent to expose failure, but to reveal favor on your obedience? That does not mean you move carelessly. Esther did not. That does not mean you ignore warning. Esther did not. It means you let warning produce consecration, not panic. You let pressure produce alignment, not chaos. You let seriousness make you sober, not afraid. Now look at Elijah. He knew fire from heaven. He knew the power of God. He saw victory publicly. But after a great victory, he still became exhausted. He still ran. He still sat under a tree and felt like he could not continue. This matters because chosen people get tired. Anointed people get overwhelmed. Spiritual warriors can become weary after battles nobody around them understands. And if you are tired right now, it does not mean God has removed his hand from your life. Elijah's exhaustion did not cancel his calling. God did not shame him under the tree. God fed him. God let him rest. God strengthened his body before giving the next instruction. That reveals the heart of the Father toward the weary chosen one. You may need to receive that. God is not disgusted by your tiredness. He is not angry that your body has limits. He is not mocking your need for rest. The enemy uses exhaustion to accuse you, but God often uses rest to restore your hearing. Rest is part of strategy. Before Wednesday, you may think you need to do more, but God may be asking you to stop doing what drains your discernment. Your tiredness may not need more striving. It may need sacred recovery, quiet food, prayer, and sleep. Elijah learned that God was not only in the dramatic signs. The Lord was not only in wind, earthquake, and fire. Then came the still small voice. That is important for this hour, because the instruction you need may not arrive loudly. You may be waiting for thunder. God may speak in stillness. You may be asking for a dramatic sign. God may answer through peace, leaving one option and resting on another. You may want a public confirmation, but heaven may whisper in the quiet place. Can you honor the whisper? That is a test. Many people claim they want God's voice, but they only trust volume. They only trust drama. They only trust what shakes the room. But chosen maturity learns the authority of a whisper. The whisper has been speaking. It told you to slow down. It told you not to answer yet. It told you that something felt off. It told you that the familiar door did not carry the same grace anymore. You did not imagine that, but your mind argued, your wound negotiated, your fear demanded proof, and your flesh said, maybe this is my chance. That inner conflict is why Wednesday feels dangerous, because the whisper is clear, but the old parts of you still want a louder permission to disobey it. Do not ask for permission to disobey what God already made heavy. Do not ask people to bless what peace has left. Do not try to make a warning become a promise just because the promise would be easier on your emotions. Elijah had to leave the place of exhaustion and hear again. You are being called to hear again, not the voice of panic, not the voice of old trauma, not the voice of people who profit from your confusion, the voice of God. His voice will not always flatter you, it will not always rush you, it will not always explain everything at once, but it will produce a depth of peace that your flesh cannot manufacture, and it will correct you without stripping your identity. This is how you know the difference. The enemy accuses and pushes. God convicts and guides. The enemy says, "You are ruined." God says, "Come closer." The enemy says, "Move now or lose everything." God says, "Wait until peace and obedience agree." Wednesday is testing which voice you will follow, not which voice you can quote, not which voice you can post about, which voice you follow when pressure rises, when the old door opens, when the counterfeit offer shines, and when your tired body wants relief more than truth. This is why the biblical pattern matters. Moses had to turn aside. David had to refuse borrowed armor. Esther had to consecrate before action. Elijah had to rest before hearing the whisper. Every story gives you one piece of the map. Turn aside. Refuse imitation. Consecrate your timing. Rest enough to hear. These are not random lessons. They are the structure of passing. And before Wednesday, God is gathering these patterns around you like a shield. Do not rush past them. Ask where you are in the pattern. Are you Moses at the burning bush, needing to turn aside from normal life? Are you David before Goliath, needing to refuse borrowed armor? Are you Esther before the king, needing consecrated timing? Or are you Elijah under the tree, needing rest before the next instruction? There is no shame in any of these places. Each place can become holy when you stop judging your season and start receiving the instruction that belongs to it. This is where many chosen ones stumble. They compare their season to someone else's stage. A Moses season looks slow next to a David victory. An Elijah rest looks weak next to an Esther move. But God does not grade you by another person's assignment. He grades obedience to your instruction. If your instruction is wait, then waiting is victory. If your instruction is speak, then speaking is victory. If your instruction is leave, then leaving is victory. If your instruction is rest, then rest is victory. Obedience is not one shape. It takes the shape of the word God gave you. That is why copying others is dangerous. You can imitate a move that God blessed for someone else and still miss the instruction He gave to you. This is the false summit. You may think the whole test is about identifying the enemy outside you. You may think if you can name the person, the obstacle, the delay, or the counterfeit, then you have already passed the test. But not yet. Seeing the enemy is not the same as passing the test. Recognizing the counterfeit is not the same as refusing it. Understanding the pattern is not the same as obeying in the moment when your emotions are loud. This is where the message goes deeper. The first layers were warning, reframe, and biblical pattern. But the hidden layer is your state. The danger on Wednesday is not only what appears, it is the version of you that meets what appears. If the old you meets it, the old cycle can repeat. If the healed you meets it, the old cycle loses access. If the scattered you meets it, confusion multiplies. If the surrendered you meets it, the same moment becomes a doorway into maturity. That is why clarity is not optional. You need more than information. You need a restored inner state. You need clean focus. You need a spirit that can hear through pressure. You need the kind of calm authority that does not rush because a counterfeit knocks loudly. The biblical pattern proves this. Moses needed inner surrender before Egypt. David needed inner courage before Goliath. Esther needed inner consecration before the palace. Elijah needed inner restoration before the next assignment. In every case, the outer test revealed the inner state. Your outer test will do the same. It will reveal whether peace is ruling. It will reveal whether fear is driving. It will reveal whether you still need approval from the wrong voices. It will reveal whether you can walk slowly when urgency tries to crown itself king. Do not fear the revelation. God is revealing to heal, not to humiliate. If you see fear, surrender it. If you see impatience, surrender it. If you see old attachment, surrender it. If you see mental fog, surrender it and let God restore clarity. Some fog is spiritual. Some fog is emotional. Some fog comes from exhaustion. Some fog comes from a mind overloaded by years of pressure, disappointment, survival, and constant noise. And because the chosen one feels deeply, fog can feel like losing connection with God. But you have not lost God. You may have lost quiet. You may have lost rhythm. You may have lost clean attention. You may have lost the calm inner space where the whisper of God becomes easier to recognize, but the Father is still near. That is why this part of the message is not only teaching you history, it is calling you back to alignment. Every biblical vessel had to be brought back to the place where the inner state could carry the outer assignment. Moses had to stop arguing with his disqualification. David had to stop accepting the smallness others projected onto him. Esther had to stop hiding behind comfort. Elijah had to stop interpreting exhaustion as the end of his story. Which one is yours? Are you arguing with disqualification? Are you shrinking under projection? Are you hiding in comfort? Are you interpreting exhaustion as the end? The answer matters, because your hidden blocker will try to dress itself as wisdom before Wednesday. Disqualification may say, this test is too big for you. Projection may say, stay small so others feel safe. Comfort may say, do not risk obedience. Exhaustion may say, nothing matters anymore. But none of those voices carry the final word of God. The final word belongs to the Father. And the Father says you are still chosen, still held, still being trained, still being corrected, still being prepared, still able to pass what once would have pulled you back into the old cycle. Receive that. You are still able. Not because you feel strong, but because God has been strengthening what you could not see. Roots grow in darkness. Oil is formed in crushing. Discernment is sharpened in silence. Authority is built through hidden obedience. Your hidden obedience is about to matter. The test before Wednesday may ask for something small, but it will draw from everything God built in you. One pause may carry years of training. One no may carry years of healing. One quiet yes may carry your whole future. This is why the enemy wants to make you emotional. He wants you to forget training and obey the moment. He wants the hour to feel bigger than the history of God's faithfulness. He wants one wave of feeling to outweigh years of evidence that God has never left you. Do not let a wave rewrite the record. God has brought you through too much. He has blocked too much. He has forgiven too much. He has restored too much. One confusing hour before Wednesday does not have authority to cancel the history of His hand on your life. Remember the record. Remember the times He saved you late, but not too late. Remember the doors that hurt when they closed, but later became mercy. Remember the people who left and revealed what God was protecting. Remember the warnings you ignored and the grace that still covered you. Memory can become worship when it points back to God. Use memory correctly. Do not use it to rehearse pain only. Use it to remember protection. Use it to remember training. Use it to remember that every final test in your life became a place where God revealed another layer of faithfulness. That is why you are not allowed to panic now. Panic has no right to lead someone with this much history with God. Fear has no right to interpret a season that has been carried by mercy. Confusion has no right to crown itself over your spirit. Tell your spirit the truth. I have been here before, and God did not fail me. I have faced pressure before, and God still guided me. I have been confused before, and God still brought light. I have been tested before, and grace still found me. Those declarations matter. They remind your body that this pressure is not bigger than God. They remind your mind that uncertainty is not abandonment. They remind your spirit that Wednesday may be serious, but it is not sovereign. God is sovereign. Not Wednesday, not the enemy, not the test, not the person, not the door, not the delay, not the old cycle. God is sovereign. And if he warned you before the test, then he has already made a way for obedience. But you must choose the way. That is where authority and responsibility meet. God opens the way, but you walk it. God gives the warning, but you honor it. God sends the whisper, but you turn aside. God reveals the counterfeit, but you refuse the agreement. This is the part that separates spiritual entertainment from spiritual maturity. Many people love warnings because warnings make them feel special. But chosen maturity does not only receive warning, it obeys the instruction inside the warning. Do not consume this message without obeying it. Do not let the words stir you and then return to the same gate unguarded. Do not let the emotion rise and fade without a choice. The seed must become obedience, or the cycle will wait for another opening. Choose now. Choose alignment. Choose restraint. Choose clarity. Choose the God voice over the panic voice. Choose the whisper over the pressure. Choose the proven pattern over the emotional impulse. This is how you move from hearing about Moses, David, Esther, and Elijah into becoming faithful in your own test. You do not need their exact story. You need their obedience. You do not need their platform. You need their surrender. You do not need their miracle. You need their pattern of turning toward God when the moment became too heavy to carry alone. Turn toward God now, not later, not after the feeling passes, not after the wrong door becomes obvious. Turn now, while the warning is fresh and your spirit is alert. The earlier you turn, the less room the counterfeit has to build a case. The counterfeit builds cases slowly. It starts with maybe. Maybe this is not so bad. Maybe I am being too guarded. Maybe I should answer. Maybe God sent this back. Maybe this is my last chance. Then maybe becomes movement, and movement becomes agreement. Interrupt maybe with prayer. Interrupt pressure with stillness. Interrupt old hunger with truth. Interrupt the familiar pull with the memory of what it cost you last time. God is not asking you to live suspiciously, but He is asking you to stop being easily persuaded by what once wounded you. This is not hardness. This is wisdom. This is not fear. This is discernment. This is not bitterness. This is obedience matured through pain. You can forgive fully and still refuse to reopen a door that God closed to save your spirit. Forgiveness does not require access. Love does not require agreement. Compassion does not require availability. These truths will help you pass Wednesday, because one of the enemy's favorite strategies is to dress access as love and make boundaries feel like sin. Boundaries are not sin when God commands them. Silence is not sin when God assigns it. Distance is not sin when peace requires it. The sin would be betraying the instruction God gave you because someone else did not like the cost of your obedience. People may not like your obedience. They may call it pride. They may call it fear. They may say you changed. And maybe you did. Maybe the version of you they could manipulate is no longer available, and their discomfort is not evidence that you are wrong. David's brothers did not understand him. Moses was questioned. Esther carried pressure others could not carry. Elijah felt alone even after victory. Being misunderstood does not mean you missed God. Sometimes, misunderstanding is the tax of carrying an assignment others cannot see. Pay the tax without resentment. You do not need to make everyone understand. You do not need to defend every boundary. You do not need to explain every holy no. Some explanations leak oil, and some silence preserves it. Preserve the oil before Wednesday. Preserve focus. Preserve peace. Preserve the instruction. Preserve the sacred yes inside you. Do not spend your spiritual strength proving that you are good to people who benefit from you, doubting your own discernment. Now the false summit becomes clear. It would be easy to end here and say, just watch for the enemy outside you. Watch the people. Watch the door. Watch the offer. Watch the timing. And yes, you must watch those things. But the deeper test is not outside first. It is inside first. The enemy outside only has power, where an old agreement inside still answers. That is why the true climax of this warning is not the counterfeit door, but the inner state that might still want it. This is where the next part must go. It will confront the hidden blocker. It will reveal why danger on Wednesday is connected to your reaction, your fog, your old identity, and the part of you that still thinks relief is safer than obedience. Stay with this. You have seen the pattern. Moses turned aside. David refused, borrowed armor. Esther consecrated her timing. Elijah rested enough to hear the whisper. Now you must see what all four patterns expose in you, because the final test is closer than it looks. Stay with this. You have seen the pattern. Moses turned aside. David refused, borrowed armor. Esther consecrated her timing. Elijah rested enough to hear the whisper. Now you must see what all four patterns expose in you, because the final test is closer than it looks. The danger on Wednesday is not only the enemy outside you. It is not only the person, the message, the opportunity, the delay, or the door. The deeper danger is the state you are in when the door appears, because an unclear spirit can turn even a warning into confusion. This is the hidden blocker. You are not only being tested by what comes toward you, you are being tested by what rises inside you when it comes. If panic rises first, you may move from fear. If old hunger rises first, you may mistake relief for God. That is the part the enemy studies. He knows the doorway outside you matters less than the doorway inside you. He knows that if he can activate the old version of you, then the new door can be approached with an old spirit, and old spirits repeat old cycles. Hear this clearly. You cannot carry a new assignment with an old reaction. You cannot enter a divine door with a survival agreement. You cannot pass a holy test while letting fear interpret the moment. The test is not only what you choose, it is what chooses through you. What voice chooses through you, what wound chooses through you, what memory chooses through you, what fear chooses through you. Because every decision has a hidden throne behind it, and Wednesday will reveal whether God is on the throne or whether pain is still ruling from the shadows. This is not condemnation. This is deliverance. God is not exposing your hidden reactions to shame you. He is exposing them so the enemy cannot use them secretly. A wound revealed in the presence of God loses the power to rule in darkness. Some of you already feel the weight of this. You know the old reaction. You know how quickly you can move when fear touches the right place. You know how fast you can answer, chase, explain, defend, or return when loneliness becomes louder than wisdom. That is why this message is serious. The enemy does not need you to hate God. He only needs you to trust your panic more than God's peace. He does not need you to reject your calling. He only needs you to enter the next moment, scattered. Scattered is not harmless. Scattered hearing creates wrong timing. Scattered timing creates wrong agreement. Wrong agreement opens wrong doors. And wrong doors can delay what God was trying to release through a clean and obedient vessel. You have been scattered too long. Not because you are weak, because you have carried too many voices, too many expectations, too many old wounds, too many unfinished griefs. And your mind has been trying to survive what your spirit was asking God to heal. This is where the test becomes internal. God is not only asking you to identify the counterfeit, He is asking you to stop needing it. He is not only asking you to reject the wrong door, He is asking you to become whole enough that the wrong door no longer feels like rescue. That is the true victory. Not just saying no while still craving bondage, not just walking away while secretly believing you lost your only chance. The true victory is when your spirit finally believes that obedience is safer than relief, even when relief arrives first. This is why Wednesday is dangerous. Relief may arrive before peace, an answer may arrive before instruction, a person may arrive before healing, a chance may arrive before clarity. And if you only judge by speed, you may call the first arrival divine. But the first arrival is not always the appointed one. Ishmael came before Isaac. Saul wore a crown before David sat on the throne. The counterfeit often appears before the promise, because the test is whether you can wait for what God breathed on. Do not crown what God did not breathe on. Do not bless what peace has not confirmed. Do not call something destiny just because it calmed a fear for a moment. A counterfeit does not always feel evil at the beginning. It often feels like immediate relief. That is why your inner state matters. A healed person can see relief without worshipping it. A grounded person can feel pressure without obeying it. A surrendered person can see an open door and still wait for God to say, walk. But the wounded self wants quick movement. The wounded self wants proof. The wounded self wants to feel chosen by people because it has not fully rested in being chosen by God. And that wounded self is the part Wednesday will try to provoke. Do not let the wound answer. Let wisdom answer. Do not let fear answer. Let peace answer. Do not let rejection answer. Let identity answer. Before you respond to anything outside you, ask, what part of me is about to respond? That question can save a season. What part of me is speaking? What part of me wants this? What part of me is afraid to lose this? What part of me believes this is my last chance? The answer will show you whether you are standing in authority or survival. Survival is loud. Authority is steady. Survival rushes. Authority waits. Survival explains itself to everyone. Authority obeys God without needing applause. Survival keeps asking, what if I miss it? Authority asks, does this carry the peace of God? This is your turning point. You have been trained to survive, but now you are being called to govern. Survival kept you alive in the old season, but governance is required for the new season. A chosen vessel must learn to govern emotions before governing assignment. You are not being promoted into more chaos. You are being promoted into authority. But authority cannot be held by a soul that lets every trigger become a command. Authority requires the ability to feel deeply and still choose from the throne of obedience. That is why the pressure has increased. Pressure reveals who governs. It reveals whether the old wound still has the gavel. It reveals whether fear still signs the papers. It reveals whether loneliness still has access to the gate. Wednesday will reveal governance, not perfection. Governance. Can you tell your emotions where to sit? Can you tell your thoughts to bow to truth? Can you tell your body that pressure does not mean panic? Can you tell the old door that it no longer has authority? This is the final test before tomorrow. It is not only whether you avoid sin, it is whether you stop letting old identity govern sacred timing. It is whether the version of you that God trained in secret can finally stand at the gate and refuse to betray the oil. Do not betray the oil. The oil cost too much. It came through crushing. It came through waiting. It came through isolation. It came through tears no one saw. It came through prayers you whispered when you had no strength left. You are carrying oil now. Not common energy, not shallow motivation. Oil. Sacred evidence that the Father did not waste your hidden place. And the enemy wants one leak before Wednesday, because he knows a sealed vessel carries authority into every room. A sealed vessel does not need to shout. A sealed vessel does not need to beg. A sealed vessel does not need to prove. It carries weight quietly. It enters a test with peace. It refuses the counterfeit, because it has learned the cost of leaking oil into unassigned places. Now let this go deeper. The danger is not that you are too weak. The danger is that you may underestimate what weakness does when it is not surrendered. Every chosen person has weak places. The difference is whether the weak place is hidden from God or held before God. Bring it before God now. The fear, the anger, the loneliness, the hunger to be seen, the exhaustion that makes you want to choose anything that feels easy. Bring it into the light before Wednesday, because whatever comes into the light cannot control you from darkness. Say this inside your spirit. I will not let an unhealed place choose for me. Let that sentence settle. I will not let an unhealed place choose for me. This is not just a declaration. It is a boundary in the unseen realm. The old place may still ache. Let it ache. The old place may still remember. Let it remember. But it cannot lead. Pain can be present without being king. Memory can speak without being obeyed. Hunger can rise without becoming your master. This is maturity. Not the absence of feeling, but the government of feeling under God. Not a cold heart, but a consecrated heart. Not denial of pain, but refusal to let pain sit where only the voice of the Father belongs. And now you can see why clarity matters so much. You cannot govern what you cannot perceive. You cannot test the voice if your mind is full of fog. You cannot guard the gate if your attention is being pulled apart by stress, noise, shame, and mental exhaustion. Earlier, I named the genius song gently. I did not stop the message there, because this is not about interrupting a holy warning with a sales pitch. I named it because some of you have not only been spiritually tired, you have been mentally covered in fog. You have prayed and still felt scattered. You have tried to focus and still felt delayed. You have wanted to hear God clearly, but the noise inside your mind felt louder than the whisper. That fog is not your identity, and it is not the end of your story. There is a reason this matters for a chosen one. Many chosen people were not born dull. They were born sensitive, quick, intuitive, creative, and unusually aware. As children, many of you learned quickly, sensed deeply, and noticed things adults did not know how to explain. Then life happened. Stress happened. School systems happened. Survival happened. Rejection happened. Trauma happened. Constant noise happened. And slowly, the bright inner clarity you once carried began to feel buried under heaviness, distraction, and pressure. Science would call part of that loss a decline in higher brain states. Spiritually, you may have felt it as losing access to the sharpness God placed in you. The old wonder became fog. The old ease became struggle. The old knowing became second-guessing. The Genius song was created around that exact problem. It is a 7-minute digital audio track heard through headphones designed with brain entrainment to help support the reactivation of gamma. Gamma is often connected with flow, intuition, insight, and those sudden moments where the mind becomes clear again. I want you to hear the framing correctly. This is not a replacement for God. It is not a magic object. It is not a shortcut around obedience. It is a tool for people whose inner clarity has been buried under years of stress, noise, and survival. Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscience researcher with 34 years of experience, helped develop the method behind it. The work points toward the kind of brainwave activity studied by places like MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other respected research universities, without turning this into a cold classroom lecture. The spiritual bridge is simple. If God gave you a mind capable of clarity, discernment, focus, and creative insight, then restoring the state that supports those gifts is not strange. It is stewardship. It is preparing the vessel to hear without so much internal static. This is why I am bringing it up here, at the climax of the test. Wednesday is not only asking whether you want God's will, it is asking whether you can recognize God's will under pressure. A foggy mind can pray sincerely and still misread a counterfeit door. Think about the person who walks into a job interview and knows they are gifted, but the words disappear. Think about the mother who prays for direction, but every thought feels tangled. Think about the chosen one who knows God has been speaking, but cannot hold focus long enough to sit in peace. One man, 51 years old, had been without work for almost 2 years after his company reduced staff. He was not unqualified. He was not lazy. But in interviews, his mind felt covered, his words felt slow, and the sharpness he once carried seemed locked behind fog. After using the Genius song for 11 days, he received his first offer, and it was stronger than the position he had lost. The deepest change was not just the job. He said the shift happened inside his mind, where the fog began to lift, and his old sharpness started returning. That story matters because many chosen ones do not need more shame. They need restoration. They need to stop calling themselves broken when the deeper issue is that years of pressure have buried the clarity they once moved with naturally. Another woman kept using it even when she did not notice a dramatic change right away. She was 47, a manager in finance, and for the first 18 days she almost thought nothing was happening. Around day 34, she realized she was sleeping deeper, deciding faster, and no longer feeling stuck. That matters too. Some restorations arrive quietly. Not every breakthrough feels like lightning. Sometimes one morning you realize the fog is not ruling like before. The decision that once took months becomes clear. The old hesitation loses power, and life begins to feel open again. That is the kind of restoration many of you need before you keep stepping into sacred tests with a scattered mind. You are not less chosen because you need support. Elijah needed food and rest before hearing the whisper. The body, the mind, and the spirit are not enemies. Now let me make the path clear without pressure. The Genius song is a 7-minute audio. You listen with headphones. You do not need complicated meditation. You do not need to wake at 4 in the morning. You do not need to force a mantra until your mind obeys. It is simple on purpose. Sit down. Put on headphones. Let the sound do what it was designed to do. Use it daily. Let your inner state begin shifting from scattered pressure into cleaner attention, so your spirit has more room to recognize what God is already showing you. More than 18,366 people have used it. But the stronger trust signal is that the refund rate is framed under 4%, which means the vast majority continue beyond the guarantee window. That kind of number matters because it speaks to quality, not just curiosity. You may have tried apps, courses, retreats, and long spiritual routines. A meditation app can cost around $15 each month. A single therapy session can cost around $150. A weekend retreat can cost $400 to $800, and many growth courses cost $100 to $200. Those things may help some people, but most of them do not directly focus on gamma reactivation. And professional biofeedback can cost around $300 per session, often requiring repeated visits. Dr. Lake compressed the protocol into a simple 7-minute audio designed for daily use. The original price is $49. For viewers of this message, it is $39 as a one-time digital access. It is delivered by email, so there is no shipping and no waiting for a package. The point is not luxury. The point is access for people who truly need restoration. Along with the Genius song, there are 4 free bonuses. Genius Child, valued at $19. A classic book connected to the roots of financial thought, valued at $20. A guided visualization, valued at $29. And a 5-habit infographic, valued at $12. That is $80 in bonuses added to the $39 access. The bonuses are not just filler. They are meant to help with family legacy, practical clarity, guided focus across important areas of life, and daily habits that help you preserve the state you are trying to restore. There is also a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you use it and decide it is not for you, you can request a full refund. Because it is digital, there is nothing to return. And even if you ask for your money back, you still keep all 4 bonuses as respect for the time you invested. That removes the fear. The real risk is not trying support when your clarity has been under attack for this long. The real cost is continuing to walk into important doors with the same fog, the same delay, the same scattered state, and the same old nervous system choosing under pressure. But listen carefully. There are imitation pages and copycat audio tracks using the name. Some are just ordinary sounds with no real brain entrainment protocol behind them. Do not search for it on Amazon, YouTube, Spotify, or random sites. Use only the verified path in the description and pinned comment. That is not pressure. That is protection. If your spirit feels called to use it, Go through the verified link only, so you receive the original audio, the 4 bonuses, and the guarantee. If you do not feel called, stay with the message and obey the warning. Now, pause for a moment. Put one hand over your chest if you can. Breathe slowly. Do not decide from pressure. Do not decide from panic. Ask yourself quietly, am I willing to restore the clarity God gave me, or am I willing to keep calling fog my normal? Let the answer rise without force. If your spirit says yes, the path is below this message in the description and the pinned comment. If your spirit says wait, then wait in peace. But do not ignore the deeper invitation to become clear before the next door opens. Now return to the test. The tool can support clarity, but obedience still belongs to you. No audio can choose your yes. No method can replace surrender. No product can pass Wednesday for you. It can help your inner state, but the gate still requires your agreement with God. This is important. Do not turn a tool into an idol. Do not turn a warning into obsession. Do not turn Wednesday into fear. The Father is calling you into sober clarity, not panic. He is giving you support, but He is still asking for obedience. The real question remains: what will you do when the old door knocks? What will you do when relief arrives before peace? What will you do when the counterfeit carries familiar language? What will you do when the wound wants to answer before the spirit finishes praying? This is where your authority must rise. You must tell the wound to wait. You must tell the fear to bow. You must tell the old identity it cannot interpret this test. You must tell the counterfeit that your yes is no longer available to anything God has not approved. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to test. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to let people be uncomfortable with your obedience. You are allowed to keep the gate closed until God sends peace. The old you thought love meant unlimited access. The new you knows love without discernment becomes leakage. The old you thought urgency meant importance. The new you knows urgency can be a trap. The old you thought delay meant rejection. The new you knows delay can be protection. This is the moment of transfer. Old interpretation is losing power. New authority is rising. The enemy wanted you to hear danger and become afraid. But God wanted you to hear danger and become awake. Awake is different from afraid. Awake sees clearly. Awake pauses. Awake notices the bait. Awake does not curse the test. Awake says, Father, thank you for warning me before my emotions made a covenant with the wrong door. Say that inside. Thank you for warning me before my emotions made a covenant with the wrong door. That is deliverance. That sentence breaks something, because the old pattern needed secrecy, speed, and emotional hunger, but now the warning has dragged it into the light. Once a trap is seen, it loses much of its power. Not all, because you must still obey, but much. Seeing means you are not walking blind anymore. Seeing means the Spirit has evidence. Seeing means the old excuse, I did not know, cannot rule this moment. Now you know. You know Wednesday is not doom. You know it is a checkpoint. You know the counterfeit may come as relief. You know your state matters. You know fog can be addressed. You know obedience must rise before the door. Do not pretend you do not know. That is another form of disobedience. When God gives clarity, He expects stewardship. When He reveals a pattern, He expects you to stop partnering with it. Revelation without obedience becomes another delayed lesson. You have had enough delayed lessons. You do not need another cycle to teach you what this warning already made plain. You do not need another regret to prove that peace was speaking. You do not need another counterfeit to learn that speed is not always favor. This time, pass the test before the pain has to teach it again. Pass it through prayer. Pass it through stillness. Pass it through one clean no. Pass it through refusing to let mental fog, old shame, or loneliness sit in the driver's seat. God is not asking you to be fearless. He is asking you to be faithful while fear speaks. He is not asking you to feel nothing. He is asking you to let feeling bow. He is not asking you to know everything. He is asking you to obey what you know. What do you know? You know when peace leaves. You know when your body tightens around a door. You know when the old craving is louder than the spirit. You know when a conversation drains more than it heals. You know when God is saying, "Not yet." Honor what you know. Stop acting like you need a thunderbolt for what your spirit has already recognized. Stop giving the enemy extra meetings to convince you out of the warning. Stop asking the wrong people to vote on the instruction God whispered in secret. This is how you win. You win by refusing the counsel of fear. You win by guarding your gate. You win by choosing the whisper over the shout. You win by letting your nervous system learn that peace is safe and chaos is no longer home. Chaos is no longer home. Say that to yourself. Chaos is no longer home. The old door is no longer home. Panic is no longer home. Desperation is no longer home. You may have lived there before, but you do not have to carry its address into Wednesday. The Father has prepared a different dwelling for you, a place of peace, a place of clarity, a place of obedience, a place where you do not chase what is not assigned, a place where you hear before you move and rest before you respond. That place begins inside. It begins before the external door opens. It begins when you let God become the ruler of your first reaction, not your second reaction, not your edited reaction. The first reaction, the one that used to belong to fear. Give him that place. The first rise of panic, the first burn of anger, the first ache of loneliness, the first impulse to chase. Give him the first reaction, and you will see how many old cycles lose their power before they become actions. This is how you pass before Wednesday. You pass inwardly before you pass outwardly. You pass in the thought before you pass in the conversation. You pass in the pause before you pass at the door. You pass in the hidden place before the visible moment. Heaven is watching the hidden place, not to accuse, to confirm, to see the fruit of training, to see the response God has been growing in you, to see whether the old trigger still rules or whether the chosen vessel has finally learned to stand. Stand now. Stand in the truth that you are not desperate. Stand in the truth that you are not forgotten. Stand in the truth that you are not late. Stand in the truth that God does not need panic to deliver what he promised. If the door is his, he can keep it. If the person is assigned, God can align it. If the opportunity is divine, obedience will not destroy it. If the timing is heaven, peace will confirm it. You do not have to abandon God to receive from God. That is the line you must carry into Wednesday. I do not have to abandon God to receive from God. Anything that asks you to leave obedience to get blessing is not blessing. Anything that requires confusion to stay open is not peace. The final test is not about proving you are strong. It is about proving that God has become stronger in you than the old voice. It is about proving that your yes has been purified. It is about proving that relief cannot buy what obedience already owns. You are closer than you think. The old cycle would not be fighting this hard if it still owned you completely. The counterfeit would not be knocking if a true door was not near. The pressure would not be this targeted if your obedience did not threaten something. That should sober you, not scare you. It means your stillness matters. It means your prayer matters. It means the next 24 hours matter. It means the unseen realm is paying attention to what looks like a small decision in your ordinary life. Small decisions are not small when they are tied to assignment. A small yes can open a season. A small no can break a cycle. A small pause can save years. A small obedience before Wednesday can become the evidence that heaven uses to release the next instruction. Now listen to the transition. You have seen the truth behind the danger. You have seen why your state matters. You have seen why clarity must be restored. You have seen why the counterfeit targets the wound and not just the calendar. The next part is the sacred seal. Knowledge alone is not enough. You must agree with God out loud. You must close the gate in prayer. You must declare who governs your spirit before Wednesday arrives. because the test is not sealed by information, it is sealed by obedience. Now, the sacred seal begins. Knowledge alone is not enough. Warning alone is not enough. Even clarity alone is not enough if you do not bring your agreement under God. So before Wednesday arrives, you must stop letting the test remain only in your thoughts and let your spirit answer with obedience. Place your attention on the Father now, not on the door, not on the enemy, not on the person, not on the fear. Let everything else become smaller for a moment, because the test is not sealed by panic, it is sealed by agreement with the voice of God. Breathe slowly. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands open. You do not need to force a feeling. You do not need to manufacture power. You only need to become honest before God and let the old reaction lose its throne inside you. Say this in your spirit first. Father, I bring you the first reaction. I bring you the fear that rises before faith. I bring you the wound that wants to answer too quickly. I bring you the old hunger that still wants relief before obedience. Do not hide from him. He already sees. He sees the part of you that is tired. He sees the part of you that is tempted. He sees the part of you that wants to be chosen by people so badly that it sometimes forgets how deeply heaven has already chosen you. Let that truth settle. You are chosen before Wednesday. You are chosen before the door opens. You are chosen before the answer comes. You are chosen before anyone understands you. Your identity is not waiting for a situation to approve it. This is the seal. I will not enter Wednesday as a beggar. I will not enter Wednesday as a victim. I will not enter Wednesday as a person desperate for any door that opens. I enter as one who has been trained, guarded, corrected, and loved by God. Say it again inside yourself. I enter as one who has been trained. That matters. The waiting trained you, the silence trained you, the rejection trained you, the closed doors trained you, even the mistakes trained you, because grace turned pain into wisdom. You are not arriving empty. You are arriving with testimony. You are arriving with evidence. You are arriving with scars that no longer have permission to rule. You are arriving with oil that came through pressure, and oil that came through pressure must not be poured into counterfeit places. Now, speak over the door. If this door is not from God, it will not own my attention. If this voice is not from God, it will not shape my decision. If this opportunity is not from God, it will not buy my peace with urgency. Let that become law in your spirit. Not every door deserves access. Not every voice deserves a reply. Not every request deserves your energy. Not every emergency is your assignment. You are allowed to obey God even when another person wants access to your reaction. This is where the old cycle breaks. The old cycle said you had to respond. The old cycle said you had to fix it. The old cycle said you had to explain. The old cycle said peace would disappear if you did not chase it. But the new authority says, what God gives will not require panic. What God sends will not require self-betrayal. What God ordains will not punish your obedience. What God opens can survive prayer, patience, and a clean pause. Receive that. You can pause. You can wait. You can ask. You can test the spirit. You can protect your peace. You can let the wrong door close without treating it like failure. A closing counterfeit is not loss. It is protection made visible. Before Wednesday, release the fear of missing out. Release the lie that this is your last chance. Release the pressure that says you must decide while your nervous system is shaking. God is not so weak that he needs panic to deliver your promise. If it is yours, peace can hold it. If it is assigned, God can keep it. If it is divine, obedience will not destroy it. If it is a counterfeit, obedience will expose it. Either way, your job is not to chase. Your job is to remain aligned. Now let heaven search the hidden place, the place where you still fear being left, the place where you still fear being replaced, the place where you still fear that if you slow down, the blessing will disappear and prove that you were never worthy. That fear is leaving now. It has lied long enough. It told you to rush. It told you to beg. It told you to accept crumbs from doors that never carried covenant. But the Father is speaking over you now, and his voice is stronger than the panic. He says you are not behind. He says you are not forgotten. He says you are not invisible. He says you are not too late. He says the door that belongs to you will not require you to abandon the peace he died to give you. Let the shame go. Let the old label go. Let the accusation go. You are not the person who failed before. You are not the person who went back before. You are not the person who ignored warnings before. You are a vessel being corrected into authority. Correction is not rejection. Correction is proof that God still claims the vessel. The Father does not refine what he plans to discard. He refines what he plans to use. He burns away mixture because pure oil must flow through a surrendered life. So say this: Father, purify my yes, purify my no, purify my timing, purify my attention, purify my hunger, purify my interpretation of this season, so I do not call a trap a blessing or call protection a delay. That prayer is a gate. Let it close what must close. Let it open what must open. Let it silence what must be silenced. Let it strengthen what must stand. Heaven responds when a chosen one stops negotiating with confusion and returns to simple obedience. Now forgive yourself for needing warnings. You are human. You are growing. You are being trained in real time. God knew your frame before he called you. He knew the places that would tremble, and he still placed assignment on your life. Do not let the enemy use your trembling against you. Trembling is not failure. Trembling can still obey. Tears can still obey. A tired body can still obey. A wounded heart can still obey when it lets the voice of God become stronger than the ache. Some of you needed to hear that. You thought obedience had to feel fearless. It does not. Obedience can feel like shaking hands and a quiet yes. Obedience can feel like tears on your face while you refuse the door that once would have owned you. That is holy. That is growth. That is power. Not the loud kind people clap for. The hidden kind heaven records. The kind that changes bloodlines because one person finally refuses to let pain choose the next chapter. You are that person. You are the one standing at the gate. You are the one who says the old cycle ends with me. You are the one who says my children, my future, my calling, and my peace will not inherit the reaction patterns that almost destroyed me. Say this now: the cycle ends with me. Not because I am strong in myself, but because God is strong in me. Not because I never feel tempted, but because temptation no longer has the final authority over my yes. The cycle ends with me. I will not answer from fear. I will not choose from loneliness. I will not move from panic. I will not call confusion a sign. I will not call pressure a command. I will not let Wednesday find me unguarded. Let those words become armor, not borrowed armor, your armor. The armor God formed through your own wilderness. The armor built from every lesson, every tear, every warning, every closed door, and every moment you chose prayer, when reaction would have felt easier. Now bless the waiting. Say, Father, thank you for what did not open too early. Thank you for what you blocked. Thank you for who walked away. Thank you for the silence that trained my hearing. Thank you for the delay that protected my destiny. Gratitude shifts the atmosphere. Gratitude reminds your spirit that God has been faithful before. Gratitude weakens panic because panic depends on forgetfulness. When you remember what God already carried you through, fear loses the right to define what is coming. Remember one closed door that became mercy. Remember one delay that saved you. Remember one person you wanted to keep who later revealed why God removed them. Remember one season you thought would destroy you, and yet here you are, still breathing, still chosen, still held. That memory is evidence. Use it. Do not only remember pain, remember preservation, remember rescue. Remember the strange ways God kept you when you did not even know you were being kept. That same God is guarding this test. Wednesday is not sovereign. God is sovereign. The test is not sovereign. God is sovereign. The enemy is not sovereign. God is sovereign. The old door is not sovereign. God is sovereign. Your fear is not sovereign. God is sovereign. Let that truth take the highest seat. God is above the day. God is above the door. God is above the timing. God is above the delay. God is above the voice that says you must panic now or lose everything. You will not lose what obedience is meant to protect. You may lose access to confusion. You may lose a counterfeit. You may lose a familiar attachment. You may lose a false comfort. But anything you lose through obedience was never strong enough to carry your destiny. That is not loss. That is separation. That is cleaning. That is pruning. That is God removing weight from the vessel before the next oil is poured. Pruning hurts, but it makes room. Separation aches, but it clears sound. Your sound must be clear before Wednesday. Your yes must be clear. Your no must be clear. Your peace must be guarded. Your attention must be reclaimed. Your mind must stop serving every fear that knocks at the door of your imagination. If your mind has felt covered in fog, return to what was shared earlier. The path for the Genius song remains in the description and the pinned comment for those who feel led to support their clarity. But remember, the tool supports the state. Your obedience seals the test. Do not make the tool the center. God is the center. Clarity serves obedience. Focus serves surrender. Restoration serves assignment. The reason you want a clearer mind is not to become impressive. It is to recognize God's voice and stop calling old chaos your home. Now speak to the fog. You are not my identity. Speak to confusion. You are not my master. Speak to urgency. You are not my prophet. Speak to the old door. You are not my future. Speak to fear. You are not my God. The atmosphere is shifting as you agree with truth. Not because words are magic, but because agreement has authority. When a chosen one stops agreeing with the lie begins losing ground. When the mouth agrees with heaven, the heart starts learning a new government. This is why your comment matters. Not as a game, not as empty engagement, as a public seal of private obedience. If this message is for you, write, I will pass the test. I will not fail God now. Write it slowly. Let your spirit feel the weight. I will pass the test. I will not fail God now. Not because you are perfect, but because you are surrendered. Not because you know every detail, but because you will not move without the peace of God. When you write it, you are not performing for people. You are marking the moment. You are telling the old cycle that its access has changed. You are telling your own soul that fear no longer interprets the next door. And if you know another chosen one who has been under strange pressure, send this message to them, not to scare them, to steady them. Some people do not need more noise right now. They need one warning that brings them back to God before the wrong door opens. Subscribe if this message found you in the exact hour you needed it. Stay close to these instructions, not because a channel saves you, but because God often uses repeated reminders to keep a chosen vessel sober when the season is moving quickly. Now we pray. Father, I bring this chosen one before you. I ask you to cover their mind, their heart, their home, their sleep, their body, their attention, and their decisions before Wednesday arrives. Let every false door lose its attraction. Let every counterfeit comfort lose its voice. Let every old attachment lose its hook. Let every ungodly urgency lose its power. Let every spirit of confusion be exposed before it becomes agreement. Father, sharpen their discernment, restore their peace, cleanse their imagination, quiet the noise, strengthen their body. Give them sleep that restores, dreams that clarify, and waking hours that carry your nearness instead of fear. If someone is not assigned to their next season, let that access close without drama. If an opportunity is not carrying your breath, let it fade without regret. If a conversation is only bait, give them the strength to remain silent. But if a door is truly from you, let peace confirm it. Let wisdom guard it. Let timing align it. Let no enemy counterfeit it. Let no wound corrupt it. Let no fear rush it. Let no confusion delay it. Teach this chosen one to move when you say move, and wait when you say wait. Teach them to speak when you say speak, and remain silent when silence is protection. Teach them to recognize the difference between pressure and instruction. Father, heal the place that still wants to be chosen by what wounded them. Heal the place that still fears being abandoned. Heal the place that thinks closed doors prove rejection. Heal the place that confuses intensity with love and urgency with destiny. Let old agreements break now. Agreements with shame, agreements with lack, agreements with panic, agreements with people-pleasing, agreements with self-betrayal, agreements with the lie that they must accept whatever arrives first, because nothing better is coming. Break those agreements in the name of Jesus. Replace them with truth. They are loved. They are guarded. They are not behind. They are not abandoned. They are not invisible. They are not too late. They are not at the mercy of a counterfeit. Raise their inner authority. Let their yes become holy. Let their no become steady. Let their pause become powerful. Let their silence become protected. Let their obedience become stronger than the wound that once moved too quickly. I speak peace over Wednesday. Not passive peace, governing peace. The kind that stands at the gate and refuses confusion. The kind that can feel pressure and still hear God. The kind that carries authority without noise. I speak clarity over the next 24 hours. I speak protection over sleep. I speak wisdom over decisions. I speak restraint over the tongue. I speak discernment over every message, every offer, every memory, every sudden emotion, and every door. May the wrong thing become heavy before it becomes harmful. May the right thing carry peace before it asks for agreement. May the counterfeit reveal itself early. May the assigned door remain protected until the chosen one can enter with clean obedience. Father, do not let them fail from exhaustion. Feed them like Elijah, steady them like Esther, train their courage like David, call them aside like Moses. Make their hidden place holy ground before their public moment arrives. And if they tremble, hold them. If they cry, meet them. If they feel alone, remind them that heaven is not empty around them. If they feel weak, let your strength rise quietly inside them until obedience becomes possible again. Chosen one, receive this. You are not walking into Wednesday uncovered. You are not walking into the test blind. You are not walking into the door without warning. God has already gone before you, and His mercy met you here before the hour arrived. So do not fear the test, respect it. Do not worship the danger, discern it. Do not run from Wednesday, enter it soberly. Do not carry panic into the day. Carry the seal of obedience and the memory that God warned you, because God loves you. Tonight, keep your atmosphere clean. Protect what you watch, protect what you hear, protect who gets access to your emotions, protect your sleep, protect your first thoughts when you wake. Do not let random noise become the soundtrack of a sacred checkpoint. When you wake, do not reach first for fear, reach for God. Say, Father, govern my first reaction today. Say, Father, close every counterfeit and open only what carries your peace. Say, Father, I will not fail you by betraying what you already showed me. That morning agreement matters. The first words matter. The first focus matters. The first breath matters. Let your day begin under God, not under panic. Let your phone wait. Let the noise wait. Let the old voices wait. Give the first place back to the Father. If pressure rises, pause. If the door knocks, pause. If the message comes, pause. If the memory pulls, pause. If the opportunity shines, pause. The pause is not delay. The pause is where your spirit checks the sound before your life makes an agreement. Ask 3 simple things. Does this carry peace? Does this honor God? Does this require me to betray what He already taught me? If peace is missing, wait. If God is not honored, Step back. If betrayal is required, close the door. That is your practical seal. Peace, honor, no betrayal. Carry those three into Wednesday. Let them stand like guards at the gate. Let them test every invitation. Let them expose every counterfeit that tries to use urgency as a disguise. You are not powerless. You are not confused beyond rescue. You are not the same person who once ignored every warning. You are awake now. You are listening now. You are choosing now. And a chosen one who chooses alignment becomes dangerous to every cycle that expected a repeat. The cycle expected you to repeat. Heaven expected you to rise. The enemy expected panic. God expected obedience. The wound expected to lead. Wisdom is taking the seat. The old door expected access. The gate is closing. Let the gate close. Let peace govern. Let God speak. Let obedience answer. Let Wednesday become proof that what God built in secret can stand under pressure. Let the final test become the place where the old version loses its last authority. Now make your declaration. I will pass the test. I will not fail God now. I will not open the counterfeit door. I will not answer from fear. I will not move from panic. I will not let the old cycle choose for me. I enter Wednesday with clarity. I enter Wednesday with obedience. I enter Wednesday with guarded peace. I enter Wednesday under the hand of God. I enter Wednesday as a chosen vessel, not a desperate soul chasing relief. The door that belongs to me will carry peace. The voice that is from God will not require confusion. The path that is appointed will not demand self-betrayal. The blessing that is mine will not need me to abandon obedience to receive it. I release the old agreement. I release the old fear. I release the old urgency. I release the old hunger for validation. I release the shame of past mistakes. I release the lie that I am too late. I receive correction as mercy. I receive warning as protection. I receive delay as preparation. I receive silence as training. I receive peace as confirmation. I receive obedience as my weapon. Now rest in that. Let your spirit settle. You do not have to keep fighting the same thought all night. You have placed it before God. You have spoken truth. You have closed the gate. You have marked the test before it marked you. Wednesday is coming, but fear is not leading you into it. God is. The test is coming, but confusion is not your covering. Peace is. The door is coming, but the old self is not carrying your yes. The surrendered self is. And when the moment comes, you will remember this warning. You will remember the pause. You will remember the prayer. You will remember the seal. You will remember that God loved you enough to interrupt you before tomorrow. So go forward, sober and peaceful, not careless, not afraid, sober and peaceful, guarded and surrendered, alert and loved, corrected and chosen, quiet and powerful, ready to pass what once would have pulled you back. The final word is this. Wednesday is the test, but God is the keeper. The door may knock, but God holds the key. The enemy may pressure,